Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. For those who are new to the channel, my name is Rigo. I am a practicing physician associate in South Central LA, working in primary care with focuses in pediatrics, OBGYN, and adult medicine. I do want to foremost apologize because I didn't upload accordingly, but I do have the video and it's an interview and I was rewatching it and I wanted to make sure it's like the best content that I can, produce. I am new to all this, so I am working on editing, working on clip. Apart from that, I am still a practicing provider. I just had a birthday. Oof. But so that's enough stressful. And then there's also some possible new job opportunities. So I'm hoping to work on stuff for the people in Southern California who are pre-PA, pre-health. But that's why I didn't upload accordingly. But without further ado, here's the interview with one of my good PA colleagues.
My name is bettyolazabal. I am a physician assistant at the Los Angeles LGBT Center. I specialize in primary care with specialty in HIV and trans care. I was born in Peru. My family came here when I was about 4 years old. I have 2 brothers and a sister, and it was just us. We all just came by ourselves.
How many years into practice are you in?
So I am about, I think, a year this year.
Okay.
So I started practicing in 2021.
Where did you go to undergrad?
I went to Cal State University in Northridge.
Northridge, okay. And for PA school?
I went to Western University of Health Sciences in Pomona.
Okay. And why did you choose your program?
I don't think I technically chose the program too much, just because I only applied to one program. I really came late into the game for PA school. I initially wanted to do pharmacy school and then realized once I worked at a pharmacy for a year that it wasn't for me. I didn't really want to be behind the counter. So I started searching for PA opportunities as far as volunteering and things like that. I was part of the PA board at Cal State Northridge. We got Western to come out. I was initially going to wait a year after I graduated to apply, but I quickly realized once Western came and talked to us that I hit all the marks they wanted. So I just decided to throw my eggs in that one basket and see what I got back, and I just happened to get lucky and get in. Oh, definitely. I've always just wanted to make sure that what I decided I wanted to do with my career was what I really wanted. So I volunteered in pharmacies. Then I got a job at a pharmacy for a year where I took a big pay cut, but it was worth it because I really met somebody that was great, and she was part of my mentoring life as well. Then quickly I was like, this is definitely not what I want to do, and I expressed that to the pharmacist that I worked with at the time, and I worked at an pretty much underserved community pharmacy then too. And so I just talked to her and she was like, why don't you look at these things? And PA was one of them. And then once I kind of read into that and started volunteering and shadowing, I was like, oh, I love this. This is what I want to do.
How many times did you apply to PA school?
Just that once.
Woo!
One time. So technically I only did the pharmacy work because I was late in the game trying to get into PA school. I did get my EMT license. I didn't do any EMT services, but I worked in hyperbaric medicine. Okay. But during this time I had already received my interview invite. So I technically received my interview invite when I went to go interview for the job in hyperbaric medicine. But I think it was still a great experience because I'm able to just realize that there's some options for that type of treatment. It's not just for people with decompression sickness or anything like that. It's really great for wound care, which within our culture and our community, there's a lot of diabetics losing limbs and having wounds that I think hyperbaric medicine would be really beneficial for them. So it was a great opportunity for me. I think it's just the people you meet, to be completely honest. It's a really rigorous, hard, stressful time. And for someone that kind of decided very late in the game that they wanted to apply and actually got in surprisingly, I wasn't expecting it. So when I got there, I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here right now. But just being able to meet all the different people that are there in the same boat as you and having that support. Western has a very large class, so we have about 96 students that start off. And so you find your little niche, but it's great that you have all these other people you can rely on too. So I think the best thing was just having those experiences after a stressful week and just being able to hang out and have fun with the people that you just went through these stressful times with.
How much time we got?
I know, right? Let me take my list out real quick. No, I think, oh my God, the worst part is just how stressed you are. You know, you feel like you get into this self-doubt mode with our culture. You know, we aren't the ideal person you see when you open up a book and you see a medical provider, right? So you feel that imposter syndrome left and right all over. You just, everything feels like you're not supposed to be there, right? Even though you're right at the same stage as everybody else in your class. So I think the test being so back to back and not having those breaks sometimes is really stressful. Western is a 24-month program, so we don't really get that many breaks. We get 1 month for summer, and then we get a couple weeks for, or I think 1 week for winter break, and then spring break. So we don't really get a lot of breaks, and that was very, very high stress. You're just on go mode at that point.
When you entered PA school, what specialty did you think you were going to go to?
I always wanted to do primary care. I always wanted to go back to my community. Just having shadowed primary care providers mainly. So I met Anna and Carla, who are the CEOs of Vida Mobile Clinic, which is a nonprofit organization providing primary care for patients in the San Fernando Valley. I kind of was mentored by them from undergrad on, and so I always wanted to come back and join Vida and just join my community and do primary care services.
Any specialties that you considered were absolutely not for me?
Surgery. I wish I really liked surgery. I'm not gonna lie. The thing is that I love small procedures and I'm able to do them in primary care now. I just can't do the hours long standing, and it was just too much for me. I loved being in there and experiencing surgery rotation, but I just would never be able to do that. Plus the hours, I can't do those hours.
What made you go into your current specialty?
So I feel like the LGBT Center kind of just engulfed everything I wanted to do. I wanted to do underserved care, minorities. I wanted to go into primary care. It brought in specialties that I didn't even know I would love. And going back to my community, being part of the LGBT community and being able to go in there and communicate really well with my patients. Being able to connect with them on a different level, right? Just because I've experienced what they've experienced in their medical care.
Okay.
They have a lot of just wrong ideas of how medicine is with them, just because of the experiences they've had with previous providers, them disregarding even their sexual orientation or their pronouns or their gender identity, things like that. I'm just so happy that I landed in that job because I'm able to connect with these patients in so many ways. And I also have patients that are heterosexual. I have patients that are older and speak Spanish. So it literally engulfs everything that I wanted to do. So I was technically on a probationary period for 3 months.
Okay.
And it was a really great onboarding process, and it was fairly new for the LGBT center because we have a new medical chair there, and so she decided that the onboarding process would just depend on your experience. Because I was a fairly new PA, they started me off just shadowing for a week or so.
Okay.
And then they gave me a very low patient load and then just kind of added up as the weeks went by, and always checking in. We always made sure that we had small little meetings, just me and her, and just saying, hey, how are you doing? How's this going? They would review my charts initially at first, and she would sign off on them, make comments and things like that, which for a new PA, I think it's amazing because I get to learn from somebody that's been doing this for years and is very experienced and knowledgeable. And there's things that I miss that somebody that's been in the game for a long time probably wouldn't miss. And so I think it's a really great onboarding process. I'm technically still on a lower patient load than other providers that have been there for like 20 years.
Okay.
But I'm kind of getting up there already.
Okay.
And I'm on my own now. I kind of sign my own notes off and doing all that. But there's always somebody in there, other providers there that you can rely on and just be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about this patient. Do you think that's right? And they'll be like, yeah, or maybe try this, maybe try that. And you can always bring a provider in the room with you and just, hey, check this rash out, because I don't really know what this is. And you'll get another pair of eyes, and it's really great. So it's a very great support system in the LGBT center.
And, unfortunately, there's not that same experience for so many other providers out there. So, this is the reason for this, channel and doing interviews, because, not every PA is the same. And that's what we're fighting for. Why should someone not become a PA?
I don't think you should become a PA if you're just trying to go into it for money. That's one of the biggest things. I know that you can make great money, right? But if you're not there to actually provide a service, and you really believe in patient care and wanting to help somebody, not just because of the monetary value, I don't think you should go into the PA profession. That's definitely my number one of why you shouldn't go in there.
Do you work with PA students or any pre-PAs at your LGBT center?
Yeah, not at the center, unfortunately, and I have brought the idea up to them. But at the moment, with so many things going on with monkeypox, like the uproar of monkeypox and things like that, we're just not able to provide that. But I actually am the director of the pre-health program at Vida, so I work with pre-PAs there. I'll do personal statement reviews, I'll review their applications, I'll just talk to them on their journey and say, hey, maybe you want to wait to apply, maybe you should apply and see if this year is good for you. We also have linkage programs for a couple of schools to be able to get our students, our volunteers, to go into interview without having to get their application reviewed first. So we'll get 2 interview seats per program that we have. We have a couple right now.
Okay.
And so as far as that's what I usually do. I also try to do pre-PA conferences if I ever get invited to any, and I offer any help I can. I'm not a big social media person, but I'm always helping on the back end, pretty much, just trying to help our volunteers, and then whoever I've had volunteers say, hey, my friend's applying, can they reach out to you? And I'm like, yeah, I'll help anybody that kind of reaches out to me within my own time, because it's usually in the evening. I think every day. I think every day. Being a fairly new PA, I think there's always still that doubt. You don't have a lot of confidence, but then I always celebrate my wins when my patient comes back and they're like, oh my God, I'm so much better, whatever we did. And I was like, oh, and I talk to my patients like somewhat like they're my friends, because then I feel like they're more committed to whatever health program or like thing that you tell them, like any treatment plan that you have, right? And so I talk to them very like friendly, and I laugh with them, and I sometimes want to cry with them.
Right,
you
right.
know? So I think every day is a little bit nerve-wracking for me, just because I want to be able to do the right thing all the time, but we're human, right? So that's why I'm very thankful for the support system that I have and the clinic that I'm at right now. And I also message Anna and Carla sometimes, and I'm like, hey, like, would you treat this like this? And just, most of the time they tell you yes, like, you're right. But medicine is something that it's a lifelong learning experience, right? So you're constantly learning, constantly on up to date, like constantly just looking things up, because you know a lot, but sometimes you just don't know the right thing right then and there. So, and I'm very big about acknowledging, like, hey, I have no idea that. Let me just go look it up real quick, and when we'll figure something out. I think being honest and candid with your patients goes a long way, because then they'll trust you. And and I talk to my patients all the time, like, acknowledging that this is a joint decision. This isn't me telling you what to do. If you don't want to do this, we don't have to. Usually they come out happy though.
Exactly, yeah, because they're like, okay, cool. And they get shocked of like how much we do know, how much we can do. And like, damn it, they were good, That has changed a lot, probably with my new relationship, because I'm very much a workaholic. I use work to cope for everything. And I love to work. So I wasn't doing a lot of fun things, but now I make plans to do a lot of great things, and usually that's changed with my new relationship that I'm in. She's very much so that she likes to do a lot of things, and I never knew I liked to do a lot of things until I started doing things. So we make a lot of plans, especially with our families. I'm a big family person, so
we've gone to Arizona for a weekend. This weekend we're going to Vegas just because, you know, we go to reggae concerts. I've never been to a reggae concert in my life, and it's so much fun. And then there's just those times where you just sit at home and watch movies, you know, and eat and have sushi at home or something. So I think those are just de-stressors for me. Just being able to be with my family and my friends and my partner, and have fun and just kind of leave work for a moment at work, right?
Right.
I think those are the things.
And it's hard, you know, it takes time.
Yeah, and as a PA student, that's very important too. I think the first couple of weeks I try to study 7 days a week. No.
Yeah.
So after that, after I noticed like, oh, this is gonna burn me out quick, I made sure to put 1 day, even if it was half a day, of not doing anything. And I would just come back home. I was only an hour away from home. So I would drive back home, completely disconnect, and just be in the moment with my family, with my friends, and have that break. And it's the same thing with work.
Do you ever diagnose yourself?
All the time. And then I'm the worst patient too. So.
Any medical shows that you watch for fun
all
or
of
critique?
Them.
Right?
Whether it's like The Good Doctor, The Resident, New Amsterdam, like anything and everything, I watch.
And do you critique it while you're...
Yes.
You
and
have
I'm
to.
like, what? And then in school, I used to... Because when you're not in school, you don't notice it too much until you start learning. And then you're like, hey, right? And then I would just kind of like snapshot it and then send it to my friend. I'd be like, this sounds so wrong. So it's really cool to be able to do that. But I still enjoy the show. Oh, man. Okay, so I had to get used to disclosing very, I guess, sad information for patients. I had a HIPAA. I had a 23-year-old come in. They had stopped getting care for a couple of years, and I was just like, hey, what's been going on? You know, we're establishing care with me. I haven't been there that long, but I was just wondering what happened. Why weren't they coming in? They were previously on PrEP, and I was like, do you want to go back on PrEP? They didn't want to. They said they're turning their life around. They're not being active, and they also all had a history of substance abuse. So kind of talked to them, and I was like, let's do some labs. And he's like, no, I haven't been sexually active. And I'm like, well, you know, it doesn't hurt anybody. I'm going to do labs anyways. And they were hesitant, but they said, okay, that's fine. They have been having just like these weird symptoms, right?
Okay.
Like some headaches at night that were unexplainable, felt a little hot and chill sometimes for a couple of weeks already. We did STD testing and they came back HIV positive. And so that was very hard for them, being so young. And so I have to disclose this. He was my first disclosure by myself without another provider in the room with me, guiding me. So that was really hard for me, but just saw them for a follow-up not too long ago, and their viral load is so low. And they're almost undetectable, and they're listening to me, and they're so thankful and happy that I was sitting there with them. And I'm obviously consent, but I kind of like hugged them and just held their hand for a while. And although other patients had to wait, you know, I spent as much time as I had to with that patient. But it's just so rewarding that you're able to give this information of like, hey, you're almost undetectable. You know, they're feeling better. They're not having those symptoms anymore. It's just things like that. It's very rewarding because, you know, being able to give that information, because it's not, I didn't do the work. You did the work. You know, you took the meds. You're keeping healthy. You're acknowledging everything I said. I didn't do it like you're doing it, but I'm able to give you this information because I have the computer up and I get the results. But that to me is rewarding enough that I'm able to just be on this journey with them. They're not using substances as much, you know, but it's just like small things, and we're slowly helping. That was one of the biggest things that I was so happy about. I went home and I did nothing, and usually I will work from home a little bit, but that day I just couldn't. And it's just acknowledging like that was a lot, you know, that was really heavy on me. And I think that was a hard day. And then the other hard days are just being ridiculed for being so young and a female and their medical provider from older men.
Right. You're like, well, you get what you get.
Yeah. And usually they turn around, you know, like when I'm nice to them and just, I'm like, hey, let me help whatever I can do. And then I'll get you a doctor afterwards.
Favorite animal that is not a dog or a cat?
Probably a sloth.
A sloth?
Yeah, they're so chill.
How much water do you drink a day?
Not enough.
What is one thing that you would say that you're oddly good at?
Oh my God. Oh man. Oh my God. Everything goes back to medicine. It's horrible. Being a friend, I feel like. I think I'm oddly good at being accessible to everybody. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing for myself. But I think I'm very just comforting.
What is one task you wish that you were better at?
Being physically active more consistently.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Do you put ketchup on your fries or do you dip the fries in your ketchup?
I don't like ketchup, but if I did, I would dip the fries.
You go to In-N-Out, what are you ordering?
Only fries. I don't really eat hamburgers.
One song in particular that you could recommend or you would recommend to anyone?
Oh my God, I can't remember it. Why does Bad Bunny just come into my head all of a sudden?
Yeah.
It's so bad. Un Ratito from Bad Bunny is so good right now. No lie, on the way here.
Yeah, same here. Indoors or outdoors?
Indoors.
Are you a beach person or a mountain person?
Mountain person.
Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
I feel like I'm in between. I can be both. Just depends where I'm at and what I'm doing and if I really have to.
What did you think you were going to be when you grew up as a kid, like elementary school, middle school?
Teacher.
A teacher? What kind of teacher?
I just said I wanted to be a teacher. It was never something in particular.
In particular,
and that's
right?
how you know it was just a dream.
Is there a different specialty you hope to work in someday?
OB-GYN.
It's the best.
Women's health OB-GYN.
I'm biased.
That is what I wanted to do initially. Out of school, that's what I wanted to do. But it's like primary care, right? So very similar. So I'd always wanted to do something within that. But OB-GYN's amazing.
If you didn't do medicine at all, let's say something happened, alternate, universe, what would you be doing right now?
Medicine's been everything. Honestly, I've always wanted to be those people that just travels everywhere and really likes food because I'm not a foodie myself.
Okay.
But I really want to be. It's just I'm so picky. But I'm that person that's very picky but has always watched the Food Network channel. And then
seasoning.
yeah, and then your brother comes in and he's like, you don't even eat any of that. Why do you watch it? And but I really enjoy seeing it. So I want to be those foodie people that goes and tries different food at different countries.
If there's anything you could change about the profession, what would it be?
Just the respect for us, right? It's just that whole mid-level provider, and I just want people more to acknowledge us for what we do versus trying to make it seem like we work under somebody all the time. I don't really work under anybody. My patients are my patients, but I'm happy that I have the access to other people. You know, that's always amazing. But I would really be happy if we were acknowledged more in the medical community as part of our own, and be able to just have our own license and not have somebody to have, be able to create a clinic without having to have a doctor on board. I really would want to change something like that.
PAs for independent practice like other APPs, or are you okay with the supervising collaborating physician?
I think both. I'm really happy with the collaborating thing too, but and not necessarily I want us to be able to have our own license to be open our own practice, but I just want us to have our own license so we don't have to have that viewpoint that we need a doctor all the time. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be independent and not necessarily just to have access to open a practice on our own, because I feel like all PAs would probably open a practice and still have other providers there as a team, right? So, but just having to be able to be independent and really own our own license and not have to have that collaborating thing going.
If you were to go back in time, would you change any of your experiences that got you to where you are right now?
I wouldn't change any of my experiences. Sometimes I do wish I did it sooner. Right. And I figured it out sooner, but I wouldn't change it because I'm able to take that experience as working as in pharmacy. I'm able to take my experience working as a server for 7 years at the Cheesecake Factory. Like those all experiences got me to where I'm at. I feel like being a server for that long got me that seat in PA school. I feel like having that experience in working at a pharmacy, I'm able to acknowledge, hey, these medications, maybe I shouldn't do this because it's going to be too much. Maybe this isn't covered. Maybe I should ask this and that, right? So those experiences you bring along as a PA, everything that you go through. So I don't regret any of my experiences.
Were there any people on your journey that doubted you or discouraged you?
Yes, absolutely, left and right. And I think the one that comes off the top of my head was literally my pre-health counselor from my school, telling me that it's really hard to get into PA school. Like, you know, maybe you should just do NP and do the BSN and then do RN and do the. And so having somebody that you're looking for guidance tell you that, being from the culture that we're from and having known you can't listen to everybody. You know, you have to listen to yourself, and if you want to do something, you have to do it, right? And you can't just let somebody create barriers that aren't there for you. So I myself am a very driven person. If I want to do something, I'm going to get it done somehow, right? And so hearing that and she has the ability to kind of guide me in that direction, I was like, okay, I still want to try it. Yeah. And I did, right? And so it's just there's people that are going to doubt you, and that's fine. They're entitled to their own opinion. But it's up to you to decide if you're going to take that and let it guide you in a different direction.
What would you tell that person right now?
I'm a PA.
I did it. Look at it. Nice.
I did it.
What would you say to the aspiring PA, you know, and I'm going to try to like incorporate it because we are changing our name. So what would you say to the aspiring physician associate?
Take your time. It's your own journey. There's nothing that you can compare to yourself that will deter you from where you need to be. Your timing is your timing. Just do your part. You have to put in the work if you really want it. So you can't expect things to just be for you. You have to make them for you at some point. So just keep going. It's hard. It's a rough journey just to get into PA school, and it's a rough journey getting through PA school, and it's a rough journey being a PA sometimes. So, but it's very rewarding, and that's why I'm saying that if you want this for money, it's not for you, because you really have to want to get through these things, right? The stresses, the losing time with friends and family, the missing out on birthdays, the missing out on vacations, the missing out on things that you really want to do. You have to really want and love this profession in order for you to want to lose all those things. So I would tell them to keep going and reach out and network and DM and call and message and email whoever you can to get these opportunities for you, especially within our like community. Being from an immigrant family, not having the means and having to make your own opportunities, that's just it. You just have to stay strong and keep going. Okay. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Betty. I appreciate it. And again, we are here at the Vida Mobile Clinic, which is created by, you know, two PAs who are practicing. Two Latina PAs right here in the San Fernando Valley that are always taking volunteers, donations. So I'll put their information too. And, you know, you can follow them on Instagram. You can, you know, reach out to them, like we say, and see how you can get involved. You know, we're always looking for providers. We're looking for specialties. We're looking for everything. So if you can, and if you have a few hours of your weekend, of your busy life, and you want to give back, by all means, it's available, and Betty's here, and she's a great person for contact.
And if you have friends or family that are uninsured and around the area, we have patients that come from Long Beach, LA, different areas to come and get care with us. Just let them know and share our Instagram.
Yeah, for sure, right?
So and we take donations.
We take donations any way, shape, or form. I take Legos, they take money.
Thank you, though.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here,
and
for sure, that's not going to be the last of our many experiences. You might see us in other pre-PA conferences as well, and you know, be sure to say hi. We're not we're regular people. We just have like scrubs.
And if any pre-PA needs anything, I'm here to help.